In a valley east of the River Nile, a mining company could be opening a new era of prosperity for Egypt. Centamin Egypt says this area is full of gold. Here at Sukari, the company believes it can expose a massive gold deposit which was stumbled upon by chance. Mining for gold is nothing new in Egypt, and there are still remnants of British attempts 100 years ago. There's less evidence of the first gold miners here 3,000 years ago, working for the pharaohs. A chance discovery in an office in Cairo led the Centamin team here. They now say they found enough gold to transform the Egyptian economy.
Don't look as if you're going to your wedding.
Ancient methods were primitive. The British had dynamite, but they lacked the knowledge and means to exploit vast reserves.
There's your quartz vein. There's the hanging wall, there's the quartz vein, and they've mined the bottom part of it. They've left some in here as a pillar to keep their backs. It's quite safe. Yeah, it's a fault vein.
And we used to get in and out down here on the road.
The man behind Centamin, Sami El-Rahi, rediscovered these ancient deposits. His Egyptian and Australian team has already proved the existence of large veins, but soon hopes to revise estimates way upwards. Several years of intensive drilling over about a quarter of the small mountain found enough gold to justify an average-sized African mine. That's already been acknowledged after strict international scrutiny. Now Sami El-Rahi is working to prove even greater potential.
Diamond bit. You know, there's all diamond there, which is sort of cut in the core there, and the core go inside.
This drill burrows hundreds of meters into the mountain. Using this technique, Centamin Egypt says it can convince everyone, but particularly investors, of what it already believes is the truth. That Egypt faces a mining revolution. Every core sample is analyzed and recorded, and the company hopes soon to produce new certified results. Capital is needed for an ore processing plant.
See it shining there?
The company intends bringing down the entire mountain. The pharaohs probably would have tried to if they suspected what was there. To the ancient Egyptians, gold was a necessary possession in the afterlife. When their dynasties died out, many secrets of the Eastern Desert gold were also buried. But Pharaoh Ramses II not only left behind a lot of gold, he also left a map indicating its whereabouts. At an investors' forum in London, Sami El-Rahi's son Joseph holds people's attention with a summary of the mining area's current value and, more importantly, what Centamin says is its potential. The Egyptian government has granted the company 3 large mining concessions over an area of 5,000 square kilometers that holds 60 ancient mines.
What we're going to show you here is the Sukari outcrop again. That's coming out of the concession out of scale, so it doesn't go from one end of the concession to the other. So you can see very good grades at surface. We're coming up
graphically illustrated, it doesn't take much imagination to see that the Sukari site at least should be profitable. Egypt will keep 40%, rising to 50% in the 3rd year. The El-Rahis hope to become popular in foreign investor circles, but even more so in Cairo.
I mean, a huge thing to Egypt, because mining industry in Egypt probably will, will overtake the oil industry, the income from Suez Canal, the tourism industry can, it can be very significant to Egypt and Egypt's economy.
It was this map which led Sami El-Rahi to the gold. Drawn for Pharaoh Seti I, the original of this ancient geological survey is held in an Italian museum. Sami saw a copy in an Egyptian office and simply followed it to the gold.
One, I was amazed about the size of the project which could be there, and the other thing I was worried why nobody else was there. But from from because I am an Egyptian and I sort of lived in Egypt and I know people there. I know that nobody there because the bureaucracy in Egypt, but I could handle that, so I have no problem there.
Like Sami, Australian geologist and company director Mike Krewalt has never been one to let a bit of desert stop him getting at a good gold deposit. He was stunned when Sami brought him here. Krewalt saw similarities between these hills and those he'd worked for gold in Western Australia.
Well, firstly, it's a very, very, very big deposit. It came in here many years ago, around about 600 million years ago. The gold was deposited in these, came in molten form with quartz, and the old timers found it 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. It's quite staggering when you think that they've mined out maybe 5 tonnes of gold here, and there's thousands of more tonnes to come out still. It's acids that have taken away the mineral, taken away all the iron out of it and left. This is the telltale clue that will tell us that there's gold in those hills. We don't have to find the quartz veins, and the gold is not just in the quartz veins, it's actually in this rock. It's through the whole hill, not just in the veins. The pharaohs mined the veins, we're going to mine the whole hill.
The company will spread the vast amount of waste around surrounding hills. Roads are already being cut to new drilling sites. Preparations take a lot of time and money, hence the need to attract lots of investment. The pharaohs used to make an annual pilgrimage to the temple of Karnak in Luxor. Ramses II erected many statues to himself. Also celebrated here were the military conquests of his father Seti, who reigned 40 years after Tutankhamun. It was Seti who first sent explorers into the apparent wastelands of the eastern desert, towards what is now the border with Sudan. Slaves dug at the quartz veins by hand, then ground the stone to pan for gold, which would be transported up the Nile, but only after thanks and worship at this desert temple. It's cut into a cliff about halfway between Sukhari and the Nile. Although isolated and forgotten by many people, some of its occasional visitors couldn't resist leaving their mark. If Centimin's forecasts are accurate, this whole region will once again be a focus of attention. Hopefully the gold extracted will be shared sensibly and used wisely, without repeating the problems often associated when outsiders are involved in developing a country's natural resources. It seems the fabulous wealth of the pharaohs could pale into insignificance compared to the new wealth available to modern Egyptians.